So I'll just introduce what we're going to do today. We're going to look at map dowsing, intuition, and remote viewing, and I'll show you the way that I do these techniques. It's different to what you might see online, but I've practiced it quite a lot, and I've got some kind of like little shortcuts to it. So I'm just going to make sure my keyboard works. We can move on to the next slide. Yay! So I'm going to walk you through how to map dowse and also work with intuition too. So I've written a little sort of trilogy of intuition and how you work with it for today. And also I'll show you how to remote view my way. And this question and answer at the end, because it's quite hard to see what you're all doing with a little screen in the side. So yeah, if you can have a paper and pencil ready, because this is quite interactive, that'd be great. Thank you. Okay, so this is me. I am a believer, an energy explorer, clairsentient, and professional dowser since 2001. I also run a home and health happiness consultancy. So I'm like a feng shui consultant. I'm into earth energy dowsing, geopathic stress, curse removal, and generally good with uneasy houses, and have been doing this for quite a long time. And I'm also a kinesiology and dowsing for health therapist. So I'm qualified with 3 different types of kinesiology. It's very similar to dowsing. I'm going to explain a little bit about it. It's very different, but the concepts are very similar. Yeah, so it does inform my practice in a different way, so it's relevant. And I've also written a course, the Inner Compass course, which is dowsing and intuition, and I've started to get quite excited about that. So I've already started on a Radiant Soul Being course. As I'm going through and finding I can't fit everything in, I'm pulling it into the other one. But these things take an absolute age. No, as it probably anyone who's out there knows. So, okay, so this is an overview of kinesiology. It's kind of, I wanted to explain about it because it's quite multifaceted. So it's a whole being system. So kinesiology sort of responds, their responses are like dowsing responses. You kind of get an on or an off from a muscle. So when you're testing a muscle, it's either on, strong, or off. And it's like a yes-no response from a certain system of muscles. So they go together. So to me, health dowsing is quite natural. And what you learn when you learn to become a kinesiologist is the real underpinning knowledge of all vibrational healing systems, because it's based in Chinese medicine, and also it has like an element that's electrical. So it's the meridian system, your body electrics, electromagnetic stress, and electrical imbalances within the cells. It also has an element to it that's emotional, so it's psychological stresses, trauma, and affirmations and things that will help you with your health that are emotional based. So we look at Bach flower essences, for example, which sit in the emotional realm. And then also there's biochemistry. So if you've got toxicity or anything that you need clearing, or nutrition that you need, or herbs, then that's part of it. And then there's the final bit, which is structural, which is where Touch for Health comes in, muscle manipulation, pain management, alignment and posture work. And that's all like a whole person center. So when someone's with me, I will be working to explore what is the highest priority that's out of balance. So if anyone's interested in kinesiology, ping me a message and I'll tell you where you can get the training, because it's absolutely awesome. It's life-changing when you learn it. But we are here to talk about map dowsing today. And this is great expression, the map is not the territory. So this was something that was told to me by a guy that runs the Power Change Academy. He was a life coach and a training of life coaching for a very long time, or a long time ago for me as well. And part of what he would always say is always there's quite often a limiting belief or an idea that we have that's blocking us that we don't know. So the map is not the territory is something I quite often come back to in my mind when we're working. So we don't literally interpret things. There's always more to ask in the way of information, elements to explore, sensations to feel. Ask.
It says recording in progress.
Can someone mute themselves, please? I'm hearing. Okay. Thank you. So, I have got to, I think, slow this slide down in some way. It seems to be, no, it's okay. I seem to have got some transitions going automatically and I'm not sure quite how to stop them. Okay, but we'll work around this as much as I can. Let's go. Can I pause this? No. Yes, I can go back on it a little bit. Can I pause it here? Okay, can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So I can slow things down if I need to.
Yes.
Lovely, thank you. So I shall resume it. Okay, so nothing is black and white. So I have this little chart here. It's an overview of my way of starting my dowsing. So if you could see it here, there's always a grey area, and I like to douse knowing that there's a grey area. So there may be a yes, there may be a no, there may be a maybe, but within all of that, there are loads of degrees of yes, no, and maybe. So I douse for them, and it helps me kind of like find out and really understand the sort of resonance of your yes and your no, how strong it is, and work with it. And also I classify energy as beneficial or non-beneficial. So I've given you some examples there. And then I work across the fourth dimension, which is tangible, and the fifth dimension, which is intangible in the morphic field. So dowsing will always pick up what we focus on, but there are always other patterns around the target or the person or of the area. Like I said, like the map is not the territory. There is always more. And when we begin to douse across dimensions and vibrational essences of vibrational fields, begin to pick things up differently. So I'll just tell you a little bit more about the fourth and the fifth dimension. So the fourth dimension is solid, informal information, which is now and the past, but it's also the fifth dimension is with it at the same time, but on top of it, it's now the past and the future, and they exist together at the same time. So when you hear about the fifth dimension, we're talking more about morphic field, which is the energy field that's around everything. And another really key thing for getting used to dowsing my way is to get comfortable with the grey areas, because life is full of grey areas. So I ask my questions in a way that are yes and no, and I grade my answers for accuracy, and things are often not 100%. And that's when you can start to think, well, why isn't it? And you begin to listen to your intuition and get a real sense of why something is not giving you the response that you want and what you're looking for. And that gap, that's 50 to 100%. Between that gap, you can find things that you need to apply that are solutions for people. So that, so that's where these little areas that we work in can really help us. So I'm going to give you an example. Reigate Heath is right near me. It's got Bronze Age settlements. There's some round barrows there. And I doused some questions like, can I find this site? And I got, yes, 100% I can. And then I began to dig into the information. So I thought, well, what about the foundations? No, are they there? And yes, they are there in the fourth dimension. There's about 7% of them. They're 3 meters deep from the surface. And then 3 meters deep and 7% means you're not going to find much. You'd probably need a very fine tooth kind of like archaeological dig to find anything there. So there's nothing out there exciting to go and find that's physical. But then structurally, yes, there's a structure there. but it's in the fifth dimension. So there's nothing in the fourth dimension, nothing physical, but it's there in the fifth dimension. There's only 2% of it in the morphic field that's left now. Um, so it would be very hard to pattern out and work with, but it's there. It's been disturbed and disrupted so heavily over time. I mean, if anyone knows Reigate Heath, it's down in Surrey. It's full of people walking through it. It's been a site of fairgrounds, race courses, golf courses, you name it, everything's gone on that heath. So a lot of it is disrupted from that. And also then we ask, is there an influence on the landscape from this 2%? And yeah, there is, so it's all these little grey points that you get. So if you just asked for that black and white, yes, no, you'd probably get no, 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 but now you're finding it because that's the sweet spot in these grey areas. And I would ask the question, can I remote view it? And my answer was maybe. So then I asked, okay, am I not asking properly? Can I? Yes. And do I have permission? Yes. So you begin to explore what's there. We're not going to be dowsing there today. Okay, so the slides are very helpfully turned me over at a right point here. So no, this is the trilogy of intuition. So what I want to do is just talk to you a little bit about how I see intuition as it develops in a person, and how you can cultivate it in yourself. It's a really important way to do it. Okay, so I'm just going to pause so I can just slow myself down a bit. There we go. Okay, so with this little diagram here, it's kind of like a circular process. So I'm going to talk you through each element of it so that you can get a sense of where I'm coming from. Obviously, you're free to do things your way, but it's just letting you know that there's a way to do it. So we have an egoic mind. This is our conscious discernment and sorting of things. And there's nothing wrong with your ego. It keeps us safe. It's something that drives us forward and gives us drive and motivation, but it needs to be kind of in balance as well. So we're not overloading ourselves with egoic requests for this, that, and the other. And we're more kind of like listening and stepping back and looking at energy in a different way. So that's the first little circle. And the next one is your inner wisdom and your knowledge bank. So in kinesiology, we have this thing called banking where we actually fill a data energy bank with our test files and the samples that we've got. And, so say, for example, you had a test kit of Bach flower essences. You would read about each Bach flower essence. You would try each essence and you would hold each essence to your solar plexus and you would work with it in a way that you really understood it and you got it into the fiber of your being. And then when you have that, you can pass that information on to other people and you can douse it much more effectively. Because if we don't know something, then we won't understand it when we find it. So this applies totally to earth energy work, remote viewing, any dowsing. So it's really important to fill your inner wisdom and your knowledge bank. So read, field douse. I don't know if anyone here has heard of Penwith Press. Some of you have, you would have known. I'm pretty sure some of you know who they are. They've got some maps of some fantastic earth energy lines that were earth energy lays that were written out by Hamish Miller. Or you can find your own sacred spaces. So everywhere you go that has something to offer you energetically is a chance to bank it. So getting out into beautiful earth energy and reading spiritual books all kind of helps create your knowledge bank. Okay. Okay. And then we have our higher self. This is the our inner voice. We have to listen to it and get a sense of the vibrations that are around us and get comfortable with using it really. But importantly, create space for it too, because it's quite easy to just overwhelm yourself in our lifestyles now. We don't really get much headspace, just central space to just be without doing a task or watching a TV or listening to something. But higher soul self is where you create self space for your inner voice through meditation or just doing something quietly and listening or just creating space when you're trying to make a decision for your intuition to come through, because it can read um, intuitive information. It can be found, which can be found in food, places, people. So it's trusting it and believing that it's there and getting comfortable with using it. And with this, we combine all of these sections, this trilogy together to create an intuitive mind. So they feed one another. So your higher soul self, your inner wisdom feeds your ego presses your inner wisdom to learn more, your higher self learns more in it, absorbs it, it banks it, and then your ego mind spirals upwards. And this whole model is kind of like an upward spiral of spiritual development as we move on in our lives now. So yeah, so it's going to help your consciousness move up and your intuition to sort of follow this. Well, you can do it your own way, but it's good to just know that this is out here. This is all at your fingertips, and to increase your intuition is a possible thing. You don't have to have a special talent. You can cultivate it and nurture yourself. Okay, so I just want to talk to you a little bit about map dowsing. And you can use any form of map or guidebook when we're working on map dowsing. Okay, so oops, it does help to be able to read a map. I love a traditional ordnance survey map, like a proper fold-out one. And I look at them and I consider lines, the horizon and known research, but I also look at them with open senses, for what might jump out and you feel a pull to. I'm sure as dowsers you do feel that pull, and you can actually look at a map and feel the same pull that you would get when you were dowsing without even having a pendulum in your hand, particularly if you know the energies that you're looking for. So I do trig dowsing, which is where you would work from the corner of a map, for example, up here, and you've got your pendulum be swinging forward over an area, and you'd be looking for a particular target and searching. So I douse the map for the corner in, and then the next corner, and I work my way in and kind of like create a sight line for what I'm looking for. So the pendulum on this map here was coming in over here, and I was thinking what's there. So I moved the pendulum to there and it was coming down to here. I moved it to there and it was coming straight down. And then from here, I put the pendulum on the map and I looked for the direction and it went to here and then it went to here. So you can just follow a pendulum over a map and really get a sense of where something is. Other people use rulers as well. There's difference. You can do it whatever way you want to. No, and some people just use their eyes, and then just have a pendulum in their hands, and then the pendulum be swinging round. And when they see something with their eyes, they might just indicate a change on the pendulum. So it's kind of like horses for courses, whatever way you want to do it. But I would say absolutely, summer's coming up, have fun with it. Ask for the best places to do something. Maybe have a picnic, explore sacred energies, do an earth blessing, douse camp, look for ley lines, alignments, find metals, minerals, meteorites, treasure, water, earth energy, burials, and more. And just be kind of free and airy about it. And if there's nothing there, well, whatever, there's nothing there. So this summer, the last solstice, I doused for the best energy to go to in a particular spot that's quite close to me. Well, it's distance away, but near enough to where I wanted to be. And I doused for it on the map, and I got to an exact spot, and I pinpointed it, and we went there to do our ceremony. And I was asking for the highest, most sacred energy on the ridge that we were working on to find the spot to do an earth energy blessing. And I followed that path with my friends that we were doing the blessing with, and blow me down if when I got there hadn't already just been a ceremony at that site, because there was a circle of leaves and flowers and candles and crystals all left there already. So dowsing had let me pick up the spot that someone was already going to be working at, so the energy was purer and the best that there would be in the area because of human intent. So amazing things happen, and we didn't know where we were going. It's just when we got there, it was like, oh, this is interesting. No. Okay, so I'm going to have to pause this. Okay. Yeah, but be free and airy and enjoy yourself when you're down. You never know what you're going to find. It's really quite interesting. So this little map here, it's an escapade that I've taken, and a really great example of how map dowsing can work when you're on holiday, you're out exploring something. But for me, it was kind of like something that I was always interested in. So I'd come across the books of John Michel and Christine Roan's The 12 Tribe Nation a long time ago. And I knew there was this place called Delphi in Greece that had massive history of sacred earth energies and temples and lots going on. And there was the Apollo and Athena ley line running through it, known to be there. I didn't know where it was when I went out there. I was interested in the Delphi prophets and prophetesses, how they worked and how they did their work and their lifestyle. I wanted to know where the fissure was that was alleged to have had emanating gases that were intoxicating and encouraged the prophecies. And I also wanted to know where the omphalos stone was. And the omphalos is meant to be the center of the earth, or the center of the outside of the earth, the solar plexus center, for want of, even though they wouldn't have had, I don't know, but it's meant to be a central point, and I wanted to know where that was in Delphi. So oops, it's all blocked out in one. Okay, so I researched John Mitchell's book, and knew about it. And then before I went to visit this site, I had a blank idea of what was there. I didn't have a map like this. I didn't know where I was going to be going. But I remote viewed it, and I doused it, and I got a sense of what was there, and I kind of planned what was there energy wise that I wanted to find. And that's how I kind of ended up with this target list of things to look at. And then I eventually got myself out there. It's not hard to get to Delphi, and quite an enjoyable place to go to. So I got there and we doused on site. There were targets to explore, and I went out looking for them all. And I kept a field journal, sketches and impressions and remote views and tourist maps. And then when I got back, I wrote up properly what I'd found. I know this is a scruffy map, but who has time to redraw things like this perfectly? So I did my sketches and then found the site. And then as cross-check, I bought a Hamish Miller and Paul Broadhurst maps from Penwith Press after the Douse and had a look, and they all corresponded. So what I found was the Athena and the Apollo line. The This is an underground. I think this is the fissure. It's sort of like strafes through the rock. This is the underground area. Really interestingly, there's a plinth that people think the original Omphalos stone was on, and up here is a spot where I really felt something else was going on, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in the next slide. Okay, so this is kind of like what a full project looks like. Or it could be someone's house as well. But a lot has gone on at Delphi, an absolutely massive amount. It's been Greek, Roman, Ottoman, Christian. It's been looted. There have been battles. There have been earthquakes. It's a complicated site. Dowsing says there's been 8,000 years of occupancy there. So I feel like for this map, I felt like, or in this instance, I felt like I had to go there. And it was because it was such a long project, I thought, right, I'm going to go anyway. And when I got there, I understand why. And there's some pictures and you can see, the site would have been really hard to douse. And I wanted to work with because it's been used for 8,000 years, I wanted to work particularly with the pagan epoch, and work with what was most strongly there originally, on the land that made it a sacred site in the first place. Okay. So here is my Delphi site finds. This is the museum on Palace Stone. There's a fantastic museum on site. Oops, this is tedious. Let's just go back, and pause. Okay, so this is the site. Okay, the Omphalos stone here is in the museum and it's labelled up as being the stone. But what I found with dowsing and remote viewing was there was a different stone here, and that was also an Omphalos stone, but it's missing. Remote viewing and dowsing has told me it went to Mecca. And, it's been taken from site, and it's now underground. It's secret. I don't know if it's known. There's no way that I can substantiate it. I wouldn't bet any money on it, but remote viewing said that, so it's quite interesting. And I'd be very interested to hear what anyone else gets if they ever want to douse Delphi. But it's a complicated site. I would make sure you really organise before you do it, or that you're experienced in remote viewing in some way or dowsing remotely, so you need all your protections. Today's work, by the way, has had a blessing and protection before we started, and the site that we'll be working with and the object or thing that we'll be practicing on have all been blessed too, or protected to the level that's appropriate for today's work. But at Delphi, the site was lost. It was amazing. It was the site of an earthquake. Also, it fell out of use. It was looted. No, there was an earthquake, and it missed a lot of damage that would have happened to it over time, or theft that would happen to it over time, because it was just lost in the earthquake and then the ensuing hundreds of years where it fell out of use, at the change of the empires. And it was completely lost to mankind. We didn't know it was there, and it wasn't found until an explorer came along and began to excavate into the ruins of the village that was there. And in order to uncover Delphi as it is now, they had to move the whole village 2 miles down the road now, so that the villagers had somewhere else to live and then they could begin the excavation. And I think that's one of the key reasons I couldn't really properly remote view that site, because there was just so much going on it through the dimensions of time. Um, but as you can see, also it's all the way up a hillside and it's miles as a site. So this little map here to scale, it's probably about 2 miles across, and right up here I never got to because it was just too far. And even in 2 days, I ran out of time to dowse. Here's me dowsing. No one took any notice of me. Um, I kind of like asked to just be not noticed, and I was just not noticed. So I went around dowsing, mapping, and clearing it through. Um, this is Temple of Apollo here, and this is almost right on where the Apollo lay comes out on the map. And here's a little blue, strange shape that I found. And in other photos, it's in different places, so it's moved around, even though it's the same photo of the same place. So I don't think it's a light effect. It's just something quite interesting. And then we got perhaps someone, no, it's dousers here that probably douse it and tell me. I don't know. In fact, maybe I don't want to know. I can only work with my frame of reference. And this lovely picture here is sunset in the oldest section of the Gaia Temple. And it's a beautiful place. If you want to go, it gets very hot. So I recommend the spring or the autumn equinoxes around about that time. This was the September equinox, which was a beautiful day. And when you pay for your ticket to go in, it's a 2-day ticket anyway, so you can spend 2 days there, no problem. Okay. I wish I could see you all in the room, but this is the way Zoom works. Okay, so I would like to run us a little bit of history on remote viewing. There's this very iconic person around remote viewing called Ingo Swann. Some of you probably know who he is. Okay, so remote viewing is looking for information with your sixth sense. Some people call it psychic spying, parapsychology, and in the 1970s, Stanford Research Institute had the first kind of like official program to remote view. Ingo Swann remote viewed locations and described them in graphic detail. And he found a secret NASA site that no one knew was there. Hal Puthoff was a physicist, and he started the program with Pat Price. Russell Targ joined, and there were sort of 4 of them that started this off. Ingo Swann, he saw the rings around Saturn before the Voyager had sent the pictures back using remote viewing, which was pretty amazing. And yeah, what is remote viewing? Well, atoms have consciousness, so why would you not be able to pick them up? And organic objects have a morphic field. And remote viewing is similar to psychometry. You take an object like a ring, you connect in, and you gather the impressions. And traditional remote viewing uses latitude and longitudinal lines to locate and spy, but you can turn it on its head. You can also look at an object or look at a place and see what else is going on there. And they could find underground tunnels using remote viewing as well by just looking at it through the land. You can also use Google Earth for remote viewing too, rather than just a map. So you can, when you're doing things the other way around. But stand back from your computer when you use it so you're not affected so badly by the electromagnetic fields. Okay. So history and use. So remote viewing was used by the CIA. They financed a top secret group of males and females for 20 years plus. They were termed spooks. They were in the bottom of the Pentagon and also with some of the military services around the US, probably also in the UK, but there's nothing there. Top secret files have been released now with Freedom of Information Acts, so that we know that it actually happened. And also one of the presidents accidentally mentioned it in public. So there is a synergy there, but it's always been an uncomfortable one. It was denigrated by CIA head and disbanded in 1995. But some people think it's still going, and there's probably plenty of anecdotal evidence to suggest that it is, in terms of finding things and what's there. Okay, and dowsers and psychics, we use it. We use it in house healing. There's house healers here today. I saw some of you logging in. We connect with houses and land. We have intuitive abilities, and they're common. So remote viewing has been used to find lost temples, UFOs, top secret installations, but we're also using it in an everyday way as well. It's almost like clairsentience. And for me personally, I see it almost like crystal ball gazing. So you're almost like screeing, but you're screeing an address or an object or a place, and letting that information come to you in the same way as those Victorian. So it's not new to the 1970s. You can Google it as well. There's a lot of stuff about remote viewing online, but some of it is a little bit much. So just choose where you go, and or take some. Well, it's up to you. Okay. Yeah, but we're going to look at latitude and longitudinal values a little bit more in the task that we're going to do later. Okay, so just going to move us. Okay, so this is how we do remote viewing. We kind of like stage 1 is glimpsing and gathering information. Stage 2 is looking at the dimensionality of it, so the form, what it looks like. So it might be, you might see something in 3D. Stage 3, you sketch it. Stage 4, you look for more information. You know, dig into what's around it. And then stage 5, when you finish that, you mine your subconscious and ask what else is there. So that's the technique. And it is not new to humanity from the 1970s. Okay, so we have, I'm just going to slow this down. Okay, so we have a tester coming up. Before we do any remote viewing, it's really quite important to kind of like check out where we're at. Okay, so I always ask, do I have energy permission to douse and remote view this site? And energy permission is key, because we're looking at permission yourself, that you're protected enough, and also permission to douse the site, that it's safe for you to go to. So it's a two-way thing. So I always ask my higher self before I go in. And you can also use the words a lot of us dowsers use, can I, may I? That's almost the same thing. And then the next thing you need to do is just say, am I protected enough for this douse remote view? And if the answer is no, can I increase this protection? And also ask yourself to filter out the terrible. It's a better way to resolve a problem than to it's better to prevent a problem than to have to resolve it afterwards. So we say out loud, please only show me what is safe and appropriate for me to see at this time. Okay, this is just to keep us safe from seeing things we don't want to see, or having to deal with things we don't want to deal with. Okay, and finally, when we've finished, we disconnect. So personally, I always move and wash my hands, because it helps to rebalance your polarity. So if anyone here has not had protection, I'm just going to talk you through how to put protection on, what a basic protection looks like, and we will do it now because we're coming up to our practice sessions. So if you would like to close your eyes. Okay, if you have your form of protection that you use and you want to use, feel totally free to use that and not use mine. But if you haven't, before we start, just imagine a bubble of light around yourself, as if it's protecting you, like a fifth dimensional skin about 2 inches away from your body, or 10 centimeters, whatever's easiest for you to visualize, and fill it with sort of magenta or indigo. And visualize yourself stood in a cool flame of violet light with a little cloak around your shoulder and a hood up and a fastening. Okay. So you could open your eyes if you've got that. Open your eyes. Just check the check. Okay. Okay. Oops. Where are we? Okay. Nice this through. Okay. Okay. So everything's loading up nice and quickly for me. And before I even want to do this, right, let's go back. Okay, and pause. Okay, so it would always be some kind of hitch might happen when we're doing stuff like this on Zoom. But we're ready. Okay, so what we need to do to start is head up a piece of paper with today's date. It's the 18th. Okay, first we need pencil and paper. Got our protection bubble and mission and filter. And today's target is what I'm holding in my hand. So what you need to do is connect with what I am holding in my hand for you outside of camera view, and allow yourself to connect in, draw your impression. Don't overthink, just be free and relax. And we're going to be here for about a minute, well, a minute and a half. So if you close your eyes, draw shapes, pattern, noise, feelings of anything that you get. Just dropped it, so I'm reholding it again. I think that was 2 minutes. Okay, people are ready. Start drawing your impression if you haven't done so already, please. Okay, are people ready? Can we finish up, please? And disconnect from the item, putting it back in its hiding box. Some of you might find remote viewing inside the box instantly easier. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds just in case it is. There's this theory that things that are hidden are easier to find in your remote view than things that are in plain sight. No. So I'll just test that one out for you. I'm holding it in my hands in the box. Okay, so it's important that everyone disconnects from this target now, please. So bring your energy back to yourself, your focus on the now, maybe just tap bottom and top lips, reset your meridian. Please feel free to pop a simple description into the chat box of what you saw. No. Okay. Okay. Couple of answers there. Okay. Okay. Oh my days. I've just realised I had a ring on as well, which is kind of wonderful. Brilliant. These are amazing. There's a lot coming in here. Okay. So I shall, if we are ready, we're going to roll this page over. Go the item. Okay. So this is a Genisa crystal. It feels, it's sacred. It's a sacred geometry shape. Okay. It was designed by Darold Langham and used by Finn Horn and also Michelle Small-Wright in the Perilanda Gardens because it is like an energy air freshener. So I think someone said like cool air. This is it. Okay, so it just spirals round and it has the shape of an atom, also of a star. The platonic solids are within it. So if anyone got a cross, a circle, it's made of 3 interconnected circles. And it's the basis of a Merkaba, which is, let's see if you can, I don't know where, no, this is the Merkaba. It's the Merkaba, and it's also a cellular sort of regenerator, which is why they use it in agri farming, spiritual agri farming. And they are crystalline. A lot of you got the colour and some of the right information on it. And for a first time at psychometry, that's pretty good. And also, I need to fess up. I accidentally left my ring on, which is, some of you have got that as well. And the colours of it were correct, which is, I hope. So that's a topaz from Sri Lanka. So this is like a great little starter. So I hope you're all happy with that. I can't see the whole room because of the view that we're in. But this is the beginning of it, okay? And the genetic crystals, they're kind of like a reoccurring cellular geometric pattern of cell development. And it's kind of like a reoccurring thing of this movement from one cell shape to another, and you might have seen it as the sign of an atom or nuclear sign. So this is what it is. Okay, so well done. A lot of you got a lot of that correctly. Okay, so now we are going to move on to remote viewing. Okay, so just gonna put the information on. Head up a piece of paper, second target, and date it again. We're going to give you a grid reference and 8 minutes connecting in. Okay, and aim to stick with shape and form. Okay, so just prepare. We've still got our protection on, but just renew it. And I'm going to give you like 8 minutes to connect in, so it's a longer period of time. But again, remember, just relax, feel airy and relaxed about it. So this is a latitude and a longitude. There's something there for you to draw. And I'm going to start timing it now. Any problems or anything stuck with anything, pop it in the chat box. But for no further ado, we're going to get on and do this remote view now. Okay. So, good, finish your drawings. Okay, so this is very interesting. You have been amazing, actually. Before we reveal, I just want to make sure everyone closes down. So ensure you disconnect from the site and come back into the room. Okay, so send down your roots, tap just under the bottom and your top lip, just like that. Okay, that picks up the central and the governing vessel, resets your energy. Maybe just tap your hands together, wiggle your toes, metaphorically shut the door, and if I was doing this myself on a project, I would go and wash my hands as well. But please don't do that because you will disappear out the room. Okay, so I've seen a lot of great comments here. So are we ready for a reveal? I think let's have a quick look. Is everyone ready? I can see some of you. I can't see that much. It's gone anyway. So here we go. This is your target. It is Merlin's Mound in Marlborough. It's ancient. So if you anyone who got a spiral, a hill, a triangle, a church, a river, buildings, green, there's a grotto here, and there's a like a tunnel that goes into it, not very far, but it's still there. They have excavated into it as well. So they're not there now, but they did them when they were doing. Okay. This was um this is in Marlborough. These are buildings around. Some of you saw cars. This is an aerial view from Google Earth of that latitude, and you can see this spiral um, and the church here in the distance. And this is Marlborough College. Their refectories down the side here. See some admin buildings along the edge here, the other side, just around about here. Is water from the original water meadow that was around it. So extremely well done to a lot of you that were brave enough to give me your things. And this is the entrance to the grotto. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it. This is I do your warning alert. This is a slide. This is slide too far when it comes to reading things. No, it's not a short slide, but I thought it would help to give you the context of everything that we've got here. I wish you were in the room with me because some of the things on the chat have been just so spot on. No, well done to you, though you people that you got it, and everyone. There's more for me to tell you. So let me just take this off pause and move me to the next screen. So here we are. Okay, so this is Marlborough Mound. It was called Merlin's Mound. It's now known to be contemporary to and as ancient as the nearby Silbury Hill. It was called Marlsborough. It was either taken from the earlier name Barrow of Merla, mythical 12th century Merlin's burial ground, or maybe Marl because of the chalk or the clay soul. You can douse. I know what I think. No. But it's quite interesting in terms of its history. The St. Michael and St. Mary, actually, it's just the St. Michael line that runs through it, the male current up the mound, and the original maps don't show it going through the college chapel, but it does now. I kind of well, it does according to the day I was there. And if you didn't find the ley lines, don't worry, because leys don't have form, so they're quite hard to pick up when you remote view them. Okay. Professor Jim Leary, the archaeologist, has done some incredible research to substantiate Marlborough Mound's ancient origins. It's the second highest man-made prehistoric structure in Europe. There were lots of little finds there of how it was made, the same as Silbury Hill, but it would have been taller and bigger, but it was mauled about by the Romans and the Normans in particular. The site has links to Stonehenge, Silbury Hill at Avebury, and Mardenhenge in Wiltshire. You can see a white horse from it. Someone saw a white horse. You can see the white horse from the top of the mound. So the tribes in the area that built these things, we think, all knew one another, and they were tribal. Who knows what Silbury Hill was actually for? The age of it is contemporary to the first stage of Stonehenge. Some of its building and structural manufacturing of the time is identical to some of the stuff that's been found at Stonehenge, and also at Mardenhenge as well, where there was also another hill. So they were connected together. The Romans used the mound for surveying the area and siting a Roman road. The Saxon village that was in Marlborough was mostly at the other end, and then the mound was taken and shaped to become a Norman keep tower alongside a new castle, and possibly there was a moat, and the original River Kennet water meadow there is the same as the one that's at Silbury Hill as well. Okay. The castle at Marlborough was an important administrative centre used by Henry II, Queen Eleanor of Aquitaine, King Richard, which is the Lionheart, King John, the medieval knight William Marshall. Don't know if any of you know these people, but they are kind of like seminal in medieval history. Then Henry III and his Queen Eleanor. And it went right, it was occupied for quite a long time after that, became Tudor. And it was given to the Seymours just as it was falling into disrepair. It was surveyed by William Stukely in 1723. There is a really great picture that he's drawn of the castle and his images of what he felt it would look like. The castle was a ruin by that time, and there was another house already on site, and the mound had been reworked into a garden folly, which is why you have this spiral track going up it, leading to the top. So a house was built, the castle was made to a folly, there was a spiral track going up the side for decoration, which is terrible because it was cut into the hill, which wouldn't, obviously, those things happen then. Marlborough College is now on site, so it's in private land. It's quite hard to see unless you see it from the road, and you can only visit on special days. But Marlborough College are very good. They're now committed to preserving the mound and restoring it to its original folly. And they also found the money to fund Professor Jim Leary's work, and are looking after it as custodians, though they don't quite get the energy significance of it from the perspective of something like a dowser or an earth energy dowser, or people that are interested in sacred sites in the way that it aligns. And I did speak to them about the ley line, and it didn't compute. So, but but that doesn't for everyone anyway. So, but I'm very glad that they're looking after it, because the trees that were on there were destroying it. Now there are roots going down. There is like a little folly cave at the bottom, which was in one of the pictures. I think there's some more information I can give you. What's loading? That's one of the oldest images I can find of it. I have got William Stukely's books of his illustrations, but I've put it somewhere and I couldn't find it to scan it in. But someone got the church is there. And actually, on the day of the open day when I was there, the church spire was open to the public, and you could go to the very top and look over to it, which was quite magical, very enjoyable. Nice synchronicity as well. So you can see here, this was the more modern house. I'm going to pause this before we race on. This is the more modern house and the basis of the college now. And you can see in the background here, you've got the terraces of the folly, or the mound, with the trees in it, which was destroying it. So they couldn't cut them all down straight away, because the banks would erode. So they've slowly cut them back, are very carefully planted on sort of like slow growing shrubs that will consolidate the structure, because it's been undermined a little bit from its natural state. So it's going to survive, which is good news. Alas, the one at Marden Henge, which is down here, it was being excavated, and there was a particularly wet winter. The excavation structural wood collapsed, and the structural tunnel collapsed in on itself that was going in for the excavations, and the henge itself collapsed down, and then the local farmer ploughed it all out. So when they came back to continue the explorations into the henge, this was quite a few hundred years ago, it had gone. But Marden Henge, which is just so this slide here, it shows the alignment between Marlborough Mound, Silbury Hill, and Marden Henge, which had a mound on. So they're in quite an interesting alignment. But Marden Henge itself is said to have been bigger than Stonehenge, but they don't know where the stones are, and there isn't the money there to research it and actually excavate it as fully as it should be done. And if you actually go there, when I walked through it, it was walking the Great Stones Way. So I'd come down through Kennett's all the way through Alton Priors, Honey Street, and found the henge. And by the time I got here, we'd walked about 8 miles and I was really quite tired. And I walked through the henge and didn't know I was in it until I was sort of tripping over a bit of earthwork. So I thought, oh, but there's not much to see there. But Marden Henge had a huge mound on it, so it was connected with it. So those of you that said there was a connection to the sacred landscape were right as well. And the henge, Marden Henge, going on from there is not far away from Stonehenge. They all link together through a footpath route, and we do know that the tribes in the area all knew one another because they were all sort of they were drawing from each other's knowledge in the way that they were making things. But Marden Henge, we don't know what's exactly there, but there's a lot to research on it. I wouldn't recommend remote viewing Marden Henge just because going forward, I'd be wary of it because there's some energies on the site there that are kind of corrupted. So I wouldn't push it and go and work there unless you really wanted to know and you had lots of experience and enough experience to handle unbalanced energies. But it's very interesting to actually walk through and actually douse, but maybe not remote view because that's taking your connection to the site to another level. Okay, so I think where we are now. Okay, so if you would like to get information on following maps, Penwith Press are this website here, and they have individual maps that you can buy of the Apollo and the Athena line and the Michael and the Mary line. So you can actually buy them, go out into the field, douse them, experience the energies that are there, and test your dowsing knowledge as well and your remote viewing knowledge and finding out where things are. So you can get those. I thoroughly recommend that. It makes a great holiday to actually go to a part of the country that's got a map and then go and visit it. And normally your families will quite enjoy it as well. Okay. Nick Hill's got a lacquer map, which is a walk from Every to Stonehenge, which is quite a nice one to have a look at. If you want to get into the landscape and don't want to walk, you can base yourself in Marlborough and catch a bus that goes through the area and winds itself around. I think it's called the X10 or something like that, but it's not hard to find. If you want to go to Marlborough and douse around there, there's no tourist office, so you have to download a map. But Marlborough Mound has open days, so you can email the trust or join their mailing list, and they'll let you know when they are. If you want to go and see it, the tickets sell out really quickly. They're sort of done now. And practice with sites within your locality and try psychometry and remote viewing at home. Okay, so going forward, whenever you're dowsing, doing remote viewing, always check for energy permission. Keep a journal and keep your faith as well, because honestly, you've done really well. Some of you are really good at this, and even if you didn't get it first time round with that latitude and longitude, that was hard. That was pretty hardcore. So, so don't be put off by it. It takes a few tries to get quite good at it, and actually, I rarely work cold like that anyway. And when I tried it, I picked up something that wasn't. I picked up the shape, and what was cars I drew as ants, so we get bits of information incorrect, but it's getting that body of knowledge together and getting used to what you're seeing and trusting what you've got. Okay, so if you want to find me, just check for Sare D Bassett or Sarah J Bassett. I'm online, I'm in person. On my website there's a newsletter that you can sign up on. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. And there's my website, and there's a new one coming up. So if that's not working, just search me and email me if you've got any other questions. And that has finished us, so I can stop screen sharing. And we are back in the room. So I enjoyed doing that for you, but it was quite hard not seeing your faces. So if you've got any questions, please, which is going to help chair the room. No.
Okay,
And
thank you, Sari. If you've got any questions, please put your hand up on your little hand emoji there. No questions? No. Oh, yes, Christopher.
Hang on. Yeah, I'm back online. Yeah, my thing is about calibrating diagrams and things like that. And one thought I had was to have a collection of pictures or something like that you snipped up and put into separate envelopes and left under the bed or something for a week or two, and then sort of pick one at random, and then another one to basically sort of hone your drawing skills. I wonder if that was a worthwhile approach to getting better, because by yourself it gets a bit hard.
yeah, that's an excellent way to do it, Christopher. And there was a case of Uri Geller. He was given 10 pictures. They were in an envelope in the safe, and he correctly remote viewed every single image that was inside the envelope. So it does work. You can do it. It's a really good way to do it. Or get someone to hide things for you as well, and then you can remote view something else that someone's drawn for you. That's another way to do it. And another way to practice it is to look at your holiday choices and kind of remote view them and then grade them through dowsing. You know, no, you get the sense.
Holidays?
Yeah, so yeah, perfect. Thank you for that question.
Okay, that's good. Thank you very much. That's really, really interesting.
Julia's got a question.
Hi, thank you so much for that. I have experimented a little bit with remote viewing and done that exercise with putting things in envelopes. So I totally go with Christopher on that. I was just wondering if you mentioned some of the historical people that started up remote viewing in America. Did they ever write books, or was it more about the papers that were connected with military history?
Yeah, I think Hal Puthoff has written a book. No, yeah, I think I haven't read it, but I think he's still around now, and you can still find some of his tutorials, or they're more explanations, because I think they want you to buy the books and the courses, but you can find quite a lot. And Hal Puthoff is quite interesting to listen to on YouTube. Definitely recommend him. So do you want me to spell his name for you?
No, it's all right. I've got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, no, well, maybe for other people. Sorry, I should have keep
No,
that.
I'm gonna have to look it up myself after saying that. No. No. I did write these slides myself, believe it or not. Okay. So his surname is Puthoff, and it's Hal Puthoff. There's a lot of noise out there about remote viewing, and some of it is absolutely fascinating. You could honestly, you could lose yourself in it. It's just there's so much to do. But I mean, I would always say kind of like pare it back. Less is more. Um, just because it's overwhelming in terms of where you can go in every direction, but it's also quite inspiring too. So you can listen to the stuff and think, well, I've never thought of doing it like that. But mostly I've developed remote viewing without doing any of anyone's tutorials, just through pure necessity and frustration and needing to find information and working remotely around the country. So does anyone plan to get out into Wiltshire and start looking at the landscape there? A little bit of enthusiasm.
I live in Wiltshire, so I'm going to experiment with some of these places. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. No.
I won't do Wiltshire because I've had to run around most of it.
Yeah.
I was in the army.
Okay.
But Wales is a really, really interesting place because you got obviously got the wild part at the top, and you've got the bit at the bottom, which is like goes from Roman through to medieval through to mining and all sorts of minerals and stuff, and lots and lots of variety down this way. It's neat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. So you can just connect with what's in your local landscape. You can look at your local maps and work on that locally, like I did on my local heath. That's all you need to do. You don't need to be anywhere particularly special, and you'd be surprising what you'd find. No. Yeah. So we worked really hard this evening, haven't we? So thank you so much for coming. It's been an absolute pleasure to see you all. And yeah, stay in touch if you're getting more information through on any of those sites. And I will have to say, I think you've been very accurate as a group. I thought you would be. And yeah, I'm very pleased to have given you a taster into this.
Well, thank you, Sare. That's fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. And thank you everybody for coming along to join us, and people have come from around the world as well. Dominic's there from Australia. Welcome, Dominic.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, Melanie from Ireland. Nice to see you again. And I know there's somebody from Canada and other places beyond. So, and Suzanne from Sweden. Hi, Suzanne.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so don't forget this has been recorded, and you'll be able to see it all again. If there's anything you missed or you want to practice, I'm sure it's a good training aid, Sare. Thank you for that. I'll certainly have a go. I didn't have a chance to fully partake because I had one eye on the waiting room, one eye on the chat, and my third eye was on the screen. So maybe when I get a chance, I'll look at it again.
Okay.
So thank you all for coming, and hope to see you soon.
All right. Blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.